would you say to your younger 30-year-old?
I think I had children quite early, so you just sort of get on with it, really. I made a decision to look at nutrition and things a little bit more.
Yeah, that's super.
I mean, I do drink alcohol, so I haven't, and my diet.
Me too.
Okay. I'm self-employed, mother of 3, stepmother of 1. I live in the south of England. And I'm 50, oh my goodness, 57, nearly 58.
Still young, still young.
Goodness me. Yeah, and fairly busy, especially this year. I was fairly quiet until January of this year, but I took on another role, sort of employed, but a contract. So yeah, fairly busy.
Wow.
That's me.
Okay. And what would you say, in one word, how would you describe turning 50?
Turning 50. I mean, it's a milestone birthday. No going back.
No going back. Okay. Oh, you need to expand on that.
Actually, 50 was fine. I think obviously noticed a lot of change. 40, I was at my best and very energetic.
Okay.
50, yeah, quite a lot of changes, and yeah, just I don't know. I don't sort of think about things too much, so it just sort of passed me by a little bit, really. But yeah.
But would you say turning 50, was there anything really significant, whether it's career-wise? Did you feel that you were in a crossroad in terms of health, in terms of relationship?
No, I think 40 was a big one for me. 40 was a bigger milestone. I think that's when I started evaluating things a little bit more.
Right.
I still felt like I was young enough, and I did make some major decisions in my 40s, especially turning 40.
Right.
50 was quite a happy, just for me.
Oh, that's
unusually.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm fairly healthy. I had noticed, obviously, sort of beyond 50, then I started to become a bit more. Do you know what? I think it was lockdown that did it for me.
Yeah, I definitely.
It definitely was then. Yeah. I started feeling a little bit more tired, and that was the next sort of milestone. It wasn't turning 50; it was a couple of years ago. Because I think I've always been fairly healthy. I noticed, obviously, if we're referring to the menopause and change in life, I noticed that periods were getting more erratic. Right. I didn't feel terribly ill. I never thought about HRT.
Okay.
At that time,
right.
But then I started. I think the reason. I think the menopause slightly passed me by because I took HRT before I probably felt I needed it.
Okay.
Because of education and just because of other people going through it.
Okay.
And also because my mum had took it, and also my sisters had osteoporosis, or the beginnings of the brittle bones.
Okay.
And so I thought maybe I should do it because it was just something I'd researched.
Yeah.
So I did, and then didn't get any hot flashes or anything.
Oh, that's good.
Because I went on it quite early, but then something happened that made me think it was a sort of scare in that I started bleeding on HRT after about 4 years.
All right.
And that's a huge straight to the doctors, and my doctors are brilliant.
Right.
And within a day I was having tests. Within a week I had results that no problem at all apart from a thickening of the womb lining.
Okay.
Which they said didn't really know why, but you shouldn't be bleeding on HRT, and because it is a early warning of cancer, so that was quite scary.
Okay, but that's where I want to share with our viewers is that, you know, why Belinda was lucky not to have too severe of symptoms, partially because she made herself aware and really in tune with her body as well. And that's why it's so important that I keep saying, listen to your body. And there's so many things that women in general, we just ignore. We ignore what our body is trying to tell us. And, you know, and here she is saying that, she listened to her body. She felt that she needed to work on started on HRT first, albeit it didn't work out so well for her. And how it actually helps with osteoporosis if you do take care of that. And I really have highlighted this to especially Asian women. We are more likely to suffer from osteoporosis than Caucasian women. That's just a general fact. And so that's something that we that Midlife Mojo and plus we try to teach more women to listen to their body and look out for those options out there as well. So what would you say to your younger 30-year-old? To the younger Belinda.
I mean, younger Belinda, I don't really know. I think I had children quite early, so you just sort of get on with it, really, don't you? I think health-wise, I was sort of, I think I was fairly healthy in my 30s and 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off the HRT, though, I've noticed I'm now getting hot and sweaty and whatever.
Okay.
So I made a decision to look at nutrition and things a little bit more.
Yeah, that's super
I mean, I do drink alcohol, you know, so I haven't, and my diet.
Me too.
my diet's pretty good though. I like food, and I have a very, very good diet. I think really, I do a lot of home cooking, not much processed food, so I think that helps. I think because the HRT stopped at the beginning of the year, I'm starting to get the symptoms that I think.
Exactly.
I know that if I went back on HRT, it would go. Off, I'm pretty sure it would, but I just think the risks are maybe possibly because of the womb lining, although that seems to have stopped because of I had just a slight intervention by the medical profession. So all okay really from that point of view. But I am feeling a little bit like I am taking some sort of supplements. I'm looking at diet a little bit more though.
Yeah,
so,
I think a diet is super important for us, and we can't deny it. But that doesn't mean we don't enjoy. We can have the occasional glass of wine, the occasional indulgence that we should, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of being the UK, what's the awareness like in your opinion about menopause?
I think recently it's been really good. If you I just have to Google UK sites and a lot comes up.
Right.
A lot. I've got a very good group of friends.
Oh, that's important.
So I go to a silversmithing class, and a lot of my friends there, we talk about menopause because we're all in the same age group.
Exactly.
Just happened by chance we are.
Same age group.
And so it's really that's the best support network because you can talk about your experiences. Really,
totally agree.
Yeah,
but I am just to share, like in Malaysia, generally women are very reluctant to talk about this. So there's this perception that you must be very old to be in menopause. But the reality is there are women as early in their 30s already experiencing. And I highlight this so much because it's a lot to do with our diet and the pollution that causes a lot, and the stress, obviously, where women are experiencing all these things a lot earlier. What would you advise Malaysian women in terms of what helped you overcome those challenges in your life? As in, you talked about diet, obviously, that's super important. And I like you expand on the social bit, because I think Asian women feel that they need to be so serious and so poised and collected all the time.
It's this culture thing then.
It's very cultured. Like you have to be so correct. And we don't know, and over time we don't know how to let our hair down.
Oh, okay.
And something that I want to encourage, that I've learned to be a bit more silly.
It's important to enjoy life.
Yeah,
I think you get to 50 and you think, how many more years have I got left? And you think, I actually decide that if I'm not happy with something, within reason, I'll change it if it's within my power to. Because there's no point being in a job that you're not happy with.
True.
You might not have the luxuries that you would enjoy with more money, but the older you get, the more you realise it's not about the money.
No,
it's health. I've got friends who have, not many, I'm really fortunate, but recently I have lost someone who was really close to us, our group of friends. He was sorted financially, but he died early, and he was all geared up to enjoying travel, whatever, and that's cut short. And you just have to think, you need to make decisions early. You can't just be pleasing. You can't be a people pleaser all your life. You can't always do what your parents and your family expect you to do.
So true, because we all live through that though, because like expectations of your parents. I mean, I talked about this on my channel as well, about being an Asian culture, and my parents always expected us to be doctors, lawyers, or accountants, nothing else, right? And it has to be that way. And if we are anything else, we bring shame to the family.
Oh, really?
Yes,
gosh,
it's very,
that's
very
unusual for us. Completely different culture.
Exactly, and I think that it's a good and bad thing, I guess, because where we come from, we place very, very high importance on education, and that is our path to success and
in later
fortune.
life. Yeah. Okay.
So which I can't deny, but at the same time, the pressure, the intense pressure, and we have no outlet to explore other things that we would love. Perhaps like, you know, art, although I'm not an artistic person.
Yeah.
But, you know, other things. And so, you know, entrepreneurship was never in my family's realm of success.
Yeah,
because
sure.
to them it's like, oh, that's not being a doctor. You have to be.
It's towing the line. Yes. What you're expected to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's what we're saying. You know, like Belinda saying, you know, when you're 50, you get wiser, you get wisdom. So why not? And you're not beholden to anyone but yourself, right? And why not explore things you like? So, you know, like myself, I'm enjoying this. I love dance, so I'm starting to take dance class, and even being silly, I'm not good at it, but
you're enjoying it. Yeah.
And so you're doing silver.
I've done. I've to be honest, all my life I've loved art and I was pretty good at it, but none of my career choices were arty at all.
Okay.
So I've always tried to do something at home, and you know, I think that's what I did during lockdown again. I mean, my children were laughing about how many. One of our quizzes at Christmas was how many of these activities has mum not done during lockdown. Okay. So yeah, I think I'm fairly creative, and I think that's helped. But I think our culture is completely different. I think the expectations are very different from what you are describing.
Yeah, and it's pretty intense, and I think maybe that is also why I do find it very hard to reach out to more Asian women to come out and talk about this. Although the reality is we all face some form of the symptoms. It's just the severity, whether it's mild or not so mild. But it's about acknowledging it and say, okay, I have that too. And then suddenly there's a connection.
Yeah.
And that's as well how Belinda and I, we talked about it, and we just kind of compare our journey and how it can be, how we can overcome those symptoms, sometimes more holistically, or maybe even talk about, for me, I think it's so powerful where when I went through it, I couldn't find any support online in Asia.
Okay.
So I started following groups from the UK and US, but it's very different. The culture is different. So it didn't resonate so much. Obviously, symptoms and all that, and what the pains, we all resonated with that. But there's the cultural aspect is very different. And so in terms of when you went through it, did you find that something very prominent that you did that actually made that difference for you in handling?
I think the only thing I really noticed before I went on HRT, my legs were tingling. I was getting this restless legs. I was thinking, what is that? And it was really it was getting quite bad. And I was thinking it was at that time I was thinking, maybe I need to go on HRT, because I did a bit of research. And I think it was my mum she's in her 90th year. She said to me 5 years ago, oh, well, I was on HRT. I was on it for years. Made such a difference to me. So obviously that's, you know, and I was thinking, really? You know, and we didn't speak about it. I didn't have a particularly open relationship about sort of that type of, you know, any medical sort of symptoms or anything with my mum. So I was really surprised, but it made me think, right, I'm definitely going on it. You know, the research I'd done. So I don't think I got the symptoms because I went on it so early. I was probably more aware that I wanted to protect my bones.
Yes.
And everyone had recommended it. I don't think I went to see a doctor during lockdown. She was an Indian doctor and she had a big face mask on, obviously, as we all did. She didn't take, the only thing I'd say is she just said, take it, you'll feel so much better, which was slightly surprising because she didn't take a blood test, didn't check my hormones. It's NHS though, it's free. You know, I didn't, that's all she said. And I had the gel and the tablet. So I had
really
and they
good.
just gave it to me straight away. We get that sort of, and in the United Kingdom, we are also given a very good help. Women are given help in that you pay something like £15 a year, and you get all the meds for free. So there's support for the for menopause and HRT.
Let's wish for that to happen in Malaysia,
because there has been awareness, and you know, I think they've realised that women need support. I think there's some women feel suicide. I never felt that, but I've heard of cases of women feeling suicidal. They feel the brain fog. I have a little bit of that, but again, I just think, it's getting old, which,
no,
we're all going to move.
I promise you, it is a reality, and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it can be improved.
Yes.
And that's why one of the reasons I'm so passionate about doing this is because I did go through that suicidal period, and it was very terrifying. And when you sit at home thinking, where am I going to hang myself the entire day?
Really? That bad?
Yeah.
That bad?
And then you go, something is wrong.
That's not normal. No,
so I'm blessed because I have a great husband, and he really kind of like, they don't know. The problem is husbands want to help, but they don't know how to help. And the reality is, if we don't know what is happening with our body, how can we ask for the right help? Because that's the reality. If we don't know that this is caused by hormones and the hormone imbalance that's causing all these things, then you don't know how to relate to your partner and say, please, I need some time, or I need you to help me out on certain things, that kind of thing. So let me ask about whether, did you ever find during that transition that your relationship was stressed, or maybe there was some difficulties?
I mean, I'm a bit like you. I have a very patient husband, and he, lucky, and again, because I hadn't, maybe I'm experiencing a bit more this year because of the lack of HRT, because it just helped me, it's not going to solve all your problems or all your, in my experience, but people still get tired, we still work hard. You can't stop that, as you age, there's no way you're going to be or have the energies
of a 20-year-old.
No, but the experience of the friends I've spoken to, my friend said she felt suicidal, and she felt like a new woman within a week.
Yeah,
and she really did. Exactly. She said, I couldn't be without it.
Yeah, I think that's what we try to advocate here, is that I'm not against HRT. I'm just saying that, if you need to, do take it.
Yeah.
But
some people can't though.
Yeah, exactly. And some people can't, like myself, and that's why options of supplements is my preferred choice.
Yep.
To me, is take action, improve your life, because there's so much living to do, guys. Don't and the reason I'm doing this is just to give you a perspective from someone with a different culture, different point of view, and what they are experiencing is really no different than what we are. It's just that we are not talking about it. Yeah.
It's the awareness, which I think we are lucky in the UK with.
Right. And I think you have a lot of influencers who are actually giving a lot of notice, and it is such a powerful tool in a way. But what would you tell someone who's going through and feel that they are alone in this journey?
I think seek like-minded people, really. That's the best thing. If you're lucky enough to have forums, if you haven't got any medical profession who are geared up, and there's still lots of education to be had. Your general practitioner will not be an expert in everything.
No, exactly. So,
and there's no right or wrong for everyone, so it's a very difficult one, because we still don't know, do we?
No, we don't have enough studies.
No, we don't.
And the reality is, all the studies has only started in the 1990s on women. And on top of that, a lot of studies are all done on Caucasian women. So Asian women are not. So one last question before is that, what is your viewpoint on traditional herbs and supplement?
I think it's knowing. I mean, I've taken something when I felt like I needed better circulation. I took ginkgo biloba. I mean, I think I possibly took too much. I did it without any advice. But I certainly felt some strong, I mean, natural is the best way to go in my experience, because they've been there for years.
Exactly.
But I just don't think there's enough. I think possibly there's more in Chinese culture and Asian culture than there is in the UK.
Yeah.
There's not that, we would tend to say, go to a Chinese homeopath, because I think you guys are probably ahead of us from that side of it, whereas we'd go straight to our GP and medical.
Yeah.
And I think anything that's natural in everyone's mind tends to be the way forward. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I think it's about trying what works for you, really.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Thank you so much, Belinda. And it's such a lovely chat. And I hope that you guys will tune in and subscribe and follow my channel, because this is all for women. And I wish you a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.